Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike the intern, Ned Reynolds. It's Friday. Thank God we made it. Another great piece of news yesterday. They're dropping the GEHA field at Arrowhead. It's back to Arrowhead Stadium.
I never, in all honesty, didn't use it in reports at all anyway. It's always Arrowhead Stadium. I think that's probably what happened. I don't think it's a loss of sponsorship or anything like that. GEHA is Government Employees Health Association. They retain their support of the Chiefs and their advertising with the Chiefs and their financial commitment and so forth. But I think probably both sides, both the Chiefs and GEHA, if you can say it that well, or say it that way, I should say, were responding to criticism. So it is, that name is dropped now. It's right back to Arrowhead Stadium the way it always has been.
You know, hopefully it always will be, no matter what side of the state they're on. The first Pro Bowl exhibition game was last night. I watched the first half. Did you?
I wanted to see how Carson Beck would play with Arizona, and he didn't disappoint me at all. He was 15 of 19 through the air, just under 200 yards and a touchdown, and the guy played pretty well. Now, there wasn't a whole lot of defense in this game, and Carolina and Arizona are not expected to be real powers in the National Football League, although you never can tell. Carolina won the game 33-30 over the Arizona Cardinals, but Arizona has some talent on their team, and Beck, who probably will not get the starting role, that goes to Jacoby Brissett. He may, if nothing's going right, will probably, I would guess, be considered to replace Brissett as the season goes on. He looked really good to me, but otherwise it was a typical exhibition game.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice to have football back. I joked with my dad and Jake about it last night, saying I must really want to watch football if I'm willing to sit down and watch Carolina and Arizona go at it and also have to listen to Chris Collinsworth for an hour or two.
How about Mike Tomlin on the? I thought the guy did great.
You know what's interesting is that I'm always so turned off by Collinsworth. It took me a while to realize I was actually listening to Tomlin, and then I was like, I said the same thought. I go, man, he is doing good, because I didn't really realize there was a change. So it sounded like he'd been doing it his whole life.
That's the point. He what did he coach the Steelers? 20 years, 19, 20, 21 years, somewhere around there. And decided to give it up, to hang it up. He didn't get fired or anything like that. Just didn't want to continue coaching, and did join NBC. And I thought, hey, this guy, he's either been through extensive training or he has it down deep. And I think it's probably the latter.
Bad time for Romo to get popped with a DUI and get let go, so Tomlin can just slide right in there. It won't be a bad trade, in my opinion, even though he was a Steeler for a long time. But, of course, last night was about the Hall of Fame inductions. Who's getting in?
Well, the inductions are tomorrow. As a matter of fact, they'll have them on the field at Canton, Ohio. Drew Brees, no surprise there, one of the great passing quarterbacks in the NFL. Larry Fitzgerald, a member of the Arizona Cardinals, or the Cardinals organization, I should say, for I think 17, 18 years, somewhere around there, one of the best receivers ever. Luke Kuechly, who was part of the Carolina Panthers, and a fearsome linebacker, great player, Adam Vinatieri. How many times did we mention his name? He's only the all-time leading scorer in the NFL. He's going in, and Roger Craig, the great running back from the San Francisco 49ers and Nebraska, he certainly deserves the nod, and he will get it. Those five inducted into Canton, Ohio Shrine.
They were talking to that kicker. I giggled to myself, because it's still got to be stuck in your craw as a former St. Louis Rams fan, to see him kicking that field goal and thinking about how the Patriots stole all your practices and taped them illegally. I'd still be pissed off about that, Ned. It's Friday. The Royals and Springfield Cardinals were playing yesterday. St. Louis Cardinals had it off. How'd the Royals look?
The St. Louis Cardinals will open up a series with the Colorado Rockies in St. Louis starting tonight. The Minnesota Twins beat Kansas City last night 4-3. That surprised me, because I thought the Royals were going to sweep this series, but it didn't happen. But I love this. It's kind of a sadly ironic circumstance for the Royals. The losing pitcher in this game is a guy the Royals just signed to a minor league contract, but he's a guy who's been around with the White Sox and the Atlanta Braves and people like that, and he has the greatest name I've ever heard for a pitcher, Aaron Bummer. Aaron Bummer. And you talk about an appropriate surname. He gave up 2 runs, 3 hits in 1/3 of an inning last night and gets the loss. Minnesota Twins beat the Royals by a score of 4-3. Now, the Springbirds did go down to San Antonio and got their big bats out and They were swinging them. This is a good team. And the Springfield Cardinals won it by a score of 9-2 over the San Antonio Missions. Look for the Springfield team. I think they're going to make the playoffs now as the second half champion, and then take on the Tulsa Drillers. This will be pretty good.
Be nice to see them get back to this thing, especially after doing it last year, Ned. We've got a golf tournament this weekend, the last regular before the playoffs start next week, right?
That's exactly right. This is the Wyndham Classic, and Bo Hostler has the lead after the first round with a 9-under par 61. They're playing it in Charlotte, North Carolina. And as you mentioned, Mike, this is the final regular season event. Now, next week begins the FedEx playoffs, incidentally, in 2028, and the PGA's already announced that there's going to be a revision of the way the season is played, but that's then, this is now. FedEx playoffs, it's only the top 70 players, so not everybody competes in the FedEx playoffs, and it's the way it should be. So the top 70 players will tee it off in Memphis at the Southwind Golf Course in Memphis, and that will be next Thursday. And they're competing as a $20 million purse. So is the next one, the second part of the FedEx tournament. That's the BMW Classic, and that is held at Belle Reve in St. Louis. That's where they're holding it this year. That's a great course. And then the final is at East Lake in Atlanta, where the winner gets $20 million. It's a $40 million purse. Oh, my goodness sake.
A lot of money, man. The setting of a new record recently that just might not ever be broken in baseball. This one's pretty big.
It's a historic event because it was 19 years ago today, 19 years ago, that a certain individual slammed a home run. That certain individual was Barry Bonds. It was 756, and that broke the record held by Henry Aaron. And, of course, Bonds ended up hitting 762, and I really don't think that record will ever be broken. But here's a little footnote to it. Henry Aaron actually had 756 home runs, but one of them was taken away from him. And I don't know how many people are familiar with this story because it happened in St. Louis. Hank Aaron, batting for the Milwaukee Braves, slammed one into the right center field pavilion at Old Sportsman's Park in St. Louis. Home run, which would have been number 756. But as Aaron trotted down to first base, the home plate umpire said, "Come on back, you're out." Out? What did I do? To hit the ball, which had been purposely pitched outside, Henry Aaron stepped across home plate, and that's not allowed. And the umpire saw it, declared him out. Now, they didn't have instant replay back then, but so you went by the umpire's judgment. But it turned out the umpire was absolutely right. He had crossed the plate with his foot, and you can't do that.
No, you can't, but still, he gets some more. So
he had his share, to say the very least.
That's for sure, Ned. Have a great weekend, my man, and I will see you on Monday.
Yes, sir.